She began her career in 2004 as a freelance photographer working in Columbus with George Anderson and Paul Paplis. Is that, am I saying it right?
It's Poplis.
Poplis. Mm-hmm. And she's done shooting for various national and local companies, including Anchor Hockey and Cloud Kitchens, and various builders, restaurants, and other local retail establishments. She does on-location she's an on-location photographer trying to showcase clients, products, and and let's see, and she said every shoot is an adventure, and out comes the challenge of environment in the different environments, not like in a studio. So Karli, you could take it away.
All right. So I started with film cameras back in the day, and then obviously now shooting digital. I'm mostly in the commercial world. I will do portraits for people I know or like an already existing client. I like things more than people when photographing, and love animals. So I'm always happy to photograph them. From Columbus, always been here. Like I said, or like Sharon said, I started with George and then worked as a studio manager for Paul for a little bit. And he primarily shot, well, he did shoot food and a lot of stock photos in the food world, and then had kids and took some time off, and then picked it back up on my own and have been doing it since. My own business since about 2011 or 12 maybe, entirely on my own. So that's what I'm doing. Do we want to roll into the pictures, or how do you do it from here?
Carol will set it up for you.
Okay, so are we gonna go through the scarlet category entirely and then the gray, or are we gonna do, how do you guys do it?
Carol will tell you what she's got ready.
Okay, gray first, but it says host disabled my screen sharing.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry. Let's see. There you go. You are now allowed to share your screen.
And also, Karli, what we'll do is she'll show you the pictures.
Okay.
She'll tell you which one we're going to start with. And Cherry will tell you the name of the picture and what place it is, and then you can make your comments.
Okay. And for everybody, I like to, I'll go over my thoughts or, what I think and everything. And then I might ask some questions to the photographer. And I also am open to hear other people's thoughts too. So if somebody hasn't, kind of have a discussion, I've always felt in the past that can be quite helpful. So I'm open to anybody that has anything else to share as well. So just throwing that out there. I don't know how you guys usually do it, but I'm good with that.
Carol, are we doing gray or scarlet first?
Well, it should be gray, but it's a scarlet ribbon.
Okay.
Well, let's see.
Well, the gremlins are out already.
We all want to go on mute at this point.
Yes, please. Everybody mute yourselves. Thank you, Rick. Somebody's on top of it tonight. It isn't me, I'll tell you. Wow.
Okay, I can tell you that this is the gray honorable mention, and this is Laundry Day, Erickson.
Okay, so I am, okay, so before I go into the comments, I want to say thank you guys also for asking me to do this. I feel honored to be able to share my thoughts with you guys. And yeah, so I really appreciate it. Okay, so I really liked this photo a lot. I like the composition and the colors. I think it looks great. I like how the lines from and I don't know if you guys can, I keep forgetting that not everybody's looking at my screen. so I'll use words to describe instead of pointing. The clothesline, it leads you through, and then the vertical lines, I like the way that it frames it in. Your eyes, it kind of leads your eyes through the whole photo too. So you don't just get stuck at one section. And how it to me, at least, it looks like the upper left corner, it's lighter. And that also with the laundry line, it kind of brings your eye to the right. And then the bottom right too, it seems a little darker. So again, I just felt like it led your eyes nicely through the photo. The only thing that I would maybe like to see a little different is if the highlights could be brought down a smidge, because in some of them, it looks like we're losing just a touch of detail. But I mean, other than that, I thought the composition of it is great. I thought it was great. Okay, that one is...
I mentioned Golden Girl by Harry Kempke.
Okay, so I'm big into like the leading of the eyes. So again, you'll hear me say that a lot. And I like shallow depth of focus. That's just a personal preference of mine. The lines of everything in here just completely taking you back through the whole photo. And I really like that. I like the golden softness of it. I thought it was really simple, but nice. The one thing that I did, if I could tweak anything, would maybe be if we could have like a true black in it, because it looks like in some of the shadows, maybe down in the bottom left, but I just would maybe want to see if we bumped up the contrast a smidge, what that would do. But other than that, again, I thought this was, I like the lines and how it led you through it. So, and it was, the selective focus was not too much to where things were blurry and you were unsure about what was going on in the background, but then everything isn't so in focus that it makes the photo really busy. So again, nice. This one, I love the light in this. It's really nice. And I like the attention to detail with the seeds from the squash that are even on the back part of the plate, and the focus, how it's on the cubed up pieces. And then, you know, again, you can still tell what it is in the background. I mean, at first I thought it was cheese, and then I was like, that doesn't make sense, duh, because I didn't read the title. So I like, again, the attention to detail was really nice. The light is really nice, especially for food. If we could maybe add a white card or some sort of, I mean, I don't even know if you necessarily would need a fill light, but something on the bottom right, just to kind of light up just a touch of light, nothing to take away, but just to kind of get maybe underneath that plate a little bit, or even that piece of squash there sitting next to the seeds. That would maybe be my only suggestion, but that would be it. And that would be something just to mess around with and see what sort of adding a fill light would do.
Let me just mention that this is Butternut Squash by Rob Formentelli. And Karli, if you could wait until I say who did the picture, because we all want to get credit for our picture.
Sorry, I have the list, so sorry. Oh. Forgot about that. Yeah, and if any of the photos that we've gone over, or in the future, if there's anything you want to comment on, like your thoughts, or maybe you did add a fill light and you decided that it took something away from the photo or whatever, feel free to chime in. I would love to hear it, because obviously, there's so many ways to do a photo and get the same results, or, you know, we weren't along for the process of what you did. So if you want to pipe up and share it, that, you know, that would be wonderful too, if you want to. Okay.
Oh, wait.
Sorry, forgot.
We want to tell who did it. This is honorable mention, A Seedy Situation by Ken Worm. Now go.
This is a cool photo. What a great shot with what a great moment and time to catch. The rule of thirds, how the birds are on the left side, but, you know, just off to the left third of the photo. I mean, the composition is great. I really, really liked it. The only thing is, if there would be a way, and that I don't do action photography or wildlife photography. So if anybody has anything to say about what I'm going to say or anything with any of the other shots, please speak up. But if there is a way to get if you used a faster shutter speed or whatever, the bird that's flying a smidge more in focus. I feel like the birds on the left are maybe a little bit more in focus than the flying bird, but I feel like the flying bird is more the main focus. So that would be that. And I was also wondering if you could bump up, because the tone of the photo is the same throughout between the feathers and the background and the seeds. I was wondering if you brought up the red orange and the birds' heads a little bit, made that maybe a bit more saturated, if that would make it pop a little more. That was really my only thought besides the focus, but I thought this was just a great moment in time to capture.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with the focus. That was, I wish I had gotten that a little bit better, but yeah. Yeah,
you definitely, you win some, you lose, yeah. You know, been there, done that. And I don't know if you're just looking in your camera or if you have it tethered to anything, but you know, in your camera, it's so small. A lot of times I'll be like, oh yeah, that looks great. And I'll even zoom in. And then when I get it on my monitor, I'm like, ah.
Yeah, actually I had the camera set up on a Cam Ranger.
Okay.
So the camera was on a tripod out near the bird feeder, and I was sitting in my living room.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially on days like today.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable mention, Chinese Water Dragon by Joe Chunko.
Okay, see, I remembered that time.
That's good.
The colors in this are wonderful. I love them. Obviously, the creature is just beautiful. I like the closeness of it and the detail, the texture of the dragon. It's awesome. It's really good. And the selective focus with the background being so out of focus, I love that. Again, the only thing I would say is just it looks like the focus is on the yellow part behind, you know, like down the side of him by his mouth. And if we could get the eye just a smidge more in focus, or even the nose or that area, or even all of it, and keep the background as out of focus as it is. But I thought this is just a really cool, colorful shot. Really showing the texture as well.
Honorable mention, Dreamy by Vicki Warren.
This one is dreamy. I thought the title was wonderful. I like the composition a lot on this. The pebbles or the rocks at the bottom right, I don't know why. my eyes keep going back to that, and I love that because it's just a little detail that isn't anything spectacular. But had they not been in the photo, you know, if you maybe moved it up a little bit or to the left, or maybe even included them more, I don't think it would have the same feel for me. It's just a little bit of detail that makes a big difference for me. I love the feel of it, and it is very dreamy, like I said. I like the lighting, everything about it. Just it's again very dreamy. Yeah, I think this was done great. Is it a slow shutter, or was it foggy?
No, it's a slow shutter speed.
Okay. So is that just water?
It's water. Yeah, it's just water.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was beautifully done.
Thank you. What do you think about the two rocks in the top two corners? I thought about taking those out.
Honestly, I didn't even really pay that much attention to them because, like I said, I keep going back to the little pebbles at the bottom with the big rock leading to the left, and it takes you down to those other rocks, and then they're pointing toward the right of the frame, which take me down to the pebbles. So I didn't even really pay much attention to them. They don't bother me. If anything, they kind of frame it.
Okay.
Hey, Vicki, where did you take this?
I took that in Newfoundland.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Vicki, I had the same idea about cropping that very top.
Uh-huh.
But when I cover it up, I don't think it looks quite as good. So I would stay with it. But I know it's the same thing you did. Is that actually distracting from the photograph or your primary center of interest? But when I covered it up on the screen, I think it's best the way it is.
Okay.
Isn't it funny that when you're looking at something of yourselves, you pay such attention to the most minute thing and get hung up on it, and then you talk to other people and they're like, oh, I didn't even notice that. Or I always find my fiance, might as well say my husband, he's an artist too, and we'll always show each other our work or talk about it, and we get so critical of our stuff, and I always tell him, but we don't know what was in your head. So to us it looks, you know, amazing because we don't know what it was supposed to look like. So all right,
this is 5th place, Home Sweet Home, Sharon Taletnik.
Okay, so this I thought was really cool, how it feels old, the editing, how it was done to look like a folded up, or it had been folded up, and the subject matter. Had it been any other subject matter, I don't think it would have been as successful of an image. And the vignetting that's around it, it works really well. Everything about it it looks like there was thought that was put in, not saying that other stuff doesn't have thought, but the thought that was put into this to create the whole overall feel of the image I thought it was very well executed. And I thought it was really neat. And rather than just be a typical sepia tone or black and white traditional image, you know, you added a whole other layer of dimensionality to it and uniqueness that just made it really exceptional.
Thank you.
So can we go back to that? Sorry. So is it like a layer how did you do the lines?
Well, I have a program and it's called ACDC, which we started way back when to bring in my photos into the computer. And it has different things on it. And this is called a weave. Okay. And you can make it different sizes and you can make it gap more or not. So I just thought, I was messing around and I thought, oh, I like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, it works. Had it been a building, a modern building, or, you know, any more, just a different subject matter that doesn't have that old time or creepy feel, you know, I didn't think it would have worked like that.
I never thought about folding, but it does look like it was.
Yeah, to me, it looked like, it reminded me of, you know, like you're in an abandoned house and you find a box of, you know, left behind photos or letters, and, you know, it got mixed up in there and folded up, and how the lines are, it's like how the creases would be had it been tucked away in time for a while, like the house.
Yeah, yeah.
Fourth place, Crystal Ball Light Sketch, Phyllis Stevens.
Okay. So this is just really cool, and I want to know how it was done. Was it editing or was it with light painting?
Let me get on here. Yeah, it was a light painting. A crystal ball on a mirror, and LED lights, finger lights.
Okay, so how many times did it take you to get that so perfectly around it?
Well, once no two come out the same.
Right.
First of all. So I couldn't tell you how many. A dozen?
It is really cool. I mean,
well, thank you.
It's visually awesome. So interesting. You know, like I said, I wasn't sure if it was digitally done or if it was light painting. And
light paint, a dark room. Yeah, dark room on a mirror.
That makes it so much cooler.
Yeah. And then the LED lights I had on a bamboo stick, and I experimented, like, you know, how do you get the
it worked.
The straight curves.
Everything about this is successful, and even the red streak at the bottom, you can see a little bit of the red throughout, but how it pops there at the bottom, I mean, just, that's awesome. And how the lines, how they're curved, I mean, just everything. It's well done. It's great. Really
Thank you.
cool.
Phyllis, we need to have you give us a tutorial on that.
I Googled crystal ball light painting.
Okay.
And this was Andy Hornby, I think his name is, who his made the most sense. And then you just have to experiment with you know, how many seconds you're drawing and exposure and that sort of thing.
I mean, even the developing with the richness and fullness of the colors is great. I mean, it's wonderful.
We had a member several years ago, and she did a lot of light painting, and she would be dressed in black, wear black gloves, and she did beautiful work. And this is really pretty.
Yeah, it's really cool when you do it. It's just nowadays it's so easy to, well, I won't say that because I don't really know, but I feel like a lot of light painting has lost its art. Not as many people do it like they did back in the film days when you didn't have any other choice. So it's awesome.
Third place is Shake It Off, Frank Began.
This is so adorable. I love animals. The shot is, again, another, wow, what a great moment shot. How long were you there? How long did it take you to get this shot?
This was taken in Alaska. and you are literally, you know, yards away from these bears, and you just sit there and they fish and they eat, and, you know, just sort of right place, right time. But yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's, again, right place, right time, and the sun being where it was, but the way that the light is highlighting his hair, or her hair, it's like they have a hair light, you know. I mean, it's just, and then seeing all the water spraying off, and I mean, the face could be a smidge more in focus, but it still is pretty in focus. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was a really, really great capturing the moment shot. That everything about it, again, the composition of it, I like rule of thirds. Just it's awesome. And I know I keep saying that, but you guys made it really difficult to pick. I had a hard time because you guys there's so many good ones. You guys kick butt.
Second place is Rotterdam Cube Houses, Bruce Goldsmith.
Okay. First of all, where is this amazing place?
This is Rotterdam in the Netherlands.
Okay. There's, oh man.
A whole project of what they call cube houses. Rotterdam was leveled after World War II, and it's a very modern city.
I mean, this shot, the light, the composition, the depth, the texture, the fact that everything is in focus. I mean, the colors, everything about this photo is awesome. It goes together so well. And like I said before, I tend to gravitate more towards shallow depth of field of stuff. That's what I like. But I had this photo had like one area that you focused on, I don't think it would have worked as well. It is just, I mean, the space is awesome in itself, but the way that you captured everything, and again, the composition of it all, and the way that you have it. So this front vertical line to the left of the bikes, it leads my eyes up, and then I hit the diagonals, and then it takes me back down, and then I hit the horizontal line that leads me over to the plants. And, you know, I mean, it just, your eye just travels so smoothly through this, and it's so enjoyable to look at. Again, the colors are just great, and the texture, I have this client that I just shot for. They're a builder, a husband-wife team, and she's the designer and he's the builder. And we just did a summer kitchen shoot, and all she kept talking about was wanting you to really show the textures of the materials that they used in the space. And like, I just am like, if she saw this, she would be so excited because of the textures and the detail of everything. It's just wonderful. And like I said, the depth of it, the lighting, everything about it is just fabulous. It's really well executed.
Thank you.
It reminds me of an MC Escher.
Yeah, and color. Very much so.
First place is Z Point Death Valley, Erickson.
So this speaking of reminding you of somebody, this reminds me of Ansel Adams. The black, white, gray tonalities of this is wonderful. You have pure whites, pure black, and all the grays in between. The detail, it's a beautiful photo. Absolutely beautiful. And I feel like it could be massive. like Ansel Adams, and you wouldn't lose the detail of it as well. Looking at it now, the tip top mountain hill is cut off. If we had that on there, it would be absolutely perfect in my opinion. I just thought this was just a wonderful photo, and it wouldn't be the same had it been in color. So choosing to do it in black and white, I think, was the way to go. And I really like the highlights there in the middle on the ridge. Anyway, this is a beautiful photo.
This is Scarlet, honorable mention. Is it Dahlia? Catherine Kempke.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm finding my stuff since, okay. This photo was really cool. It reminded me of a water painting. I like the composition of it. Again, I like I guess that's how the flower is, with the little white highlights on the tips of it. But I like the highlights around it and how it gets darker in the center. Again, my eye travels through it. I am not huge into different editing techniques or filters or whatever you want to say. But I thought this one was done really well, and it works really well with the flower and just the overall feel of the photo. Like I said, it reminds me of a water painting. I thought it was done very well.
Honorable mention, Better with Age. I think this is Rob Formentelli. Is that right?
Yes.
Rob? Good.
Love the lighting on this and the use of white cards. I'm assuming you were using white cards on both sides or had lights on both sides of it to make the rim lighting?
Yeah, there were lights on both sides in diffusion.
Yeah, I think that looks, I think it looks great. It's very dramatic and pleasing to the eyes. I was wondering what it would look like if either you had it so the rim light was a little wider, or if one side was a little wider. Again, I don't know how it would look, but I was just curious and if it would take away from the photo or if it would add to it. And I don't know if you tried that to see.
I was trying to go for symmetry, but I had to tear it down because my wife needed to use the room for her workspace on the following Monday.
Isn't that so frustrating when you when you have to share your space? I have, like I said earlier, I have 6 dogs, and we just moved into this. We built a house and just moved in the end of January. So I am doing a series of portraits of my dogs to make big prints and hang on our walls. And I have stuff set up in the basement right now on our, well, around our ping pong table. And I'm just waiting for one of the kids to go down there and tear it apart or ask me to, so they can have the space back. That's so frustrating. But I agree. I think the symmetry is good. And I kind of figured that's what you were going for. So that's why I said I was curious what it would be if it was just a little bit wider. And then I was also curious though about how it would be if it was asymmetrical too. So that would be my only suggestion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that either one of those would make it better.
I'll definitely try it. Thank you.
It looks good though.
Honorable mention, Plucked, Rob Formentelli.
This one, I really liked the lighting. I thought it was done really well. The one thing though, I will say that I keep getting hung up on is the little imperfection on the feather there on the left-hand side, how it's like a wrinkle in the feather or whatever. But I really like the side lighting on this a lot. I think and the simpleness of it. I always like how sometimes you see a photo of an ordinary subject that's so simple, but it's so visually satisfying and pleasing to the eye because of light. And I think this is a great example how you use light to make something so everyday look so great.
Oh, thank you.
Honorable mention, Merchant's Wife, Dick Wood.
Okay, this is another one that I look at and I go, is that a painting or is that a photograph? I thought it was really cool how, I don't know if your idea was to model it after a painting portrait, but I thought that was neat, unique. The lighting even is just like it. The softness of it, it works really well. It looks really good. And like I said, it's just not something, it's not something that you see every day in a portrait sort of setting, unless you're going to somewhere that they're going to do the old timey photos, which isn't even like that. But, and the color, I mean, the color even feels like it's period specific to all that. It was just, I don't know if that was all intentional, but it looks like it was, and it looks very thought out and executed well.
Yes, I was trying to mimic the Flemish style school of painting and did a lot of dodging and burning and masking and stuff like that. The softness of the hair, the highlights, and you look along the edges of her white blouse. So you see I highlighted that because the contrast and darken the skin to get the dimensionality. I just used one light and I think a gray card, a fill card, but I was going off to the Rembrandt type look, the Flemish look.
Yeah, I mean, you did great. Even the strings behind her, you didn't lose detail in the shadows even. And I mean, I don't know if this is how she always is, but her nails are so well kept. I mean, just everything about it looks like there was thought put into, which is just, the attention to detail is great. And
the problem that she was wearing a velvet dress, and velvet just soaks up the light. So I had to be careful of that, you know.
Yeah, but it looks good. And even the softness of it, where it feels like it's just like a soft focus, but I think it works well for this. Again, I don't know if that was just how it ended up or that was intentional, but it works so well. I wouldn't change it at all.
It was intentional.
I assume, like I said, the attention to detail and all of it's very well done.
Thank you.
I don't think many men would have noticed her good nails.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, in the commercial world, you pay attention to everything, or you try to. And so that's why I was like, well, I wonder if that was thought out to, you know, down to every single detail.
You pay for a model. You pay for a model, you expect that, and you look at it. You really do.
So Dick, was this just exercise in period photography, or was there another purpose for this?
Just to do it, exercise and remnant type paintings and stuff like that. I like the era. And also too, I mean, you know, how to make a photograph sort of look like a painting without going overboard, without the artificial paint stuff on it. So, you know, like the hair, if you look at the hair, the softness of the hair with dodge and burn highlights and stuff like that. So it was an exercise, and just one light, that's all. That's all you need sometimes.
Honorable mention, Nepal woman with prayer wheel, Larry Kennedy.
So I feel like this is telling a story. There's so much to this photograph that I don't think I can even put into words, and that probably has a lot to do with her face, her expression, the lines on her face, just all of it. And I was looking at this photo from a photojournalistic side of stuff and just felt like this tells a great story. And the light, again, is wonderful. Her hand holding the beads, or I don't know what the prayer wheel is, if that's the staffy thing in front of her or not. But I thought this photo, I mean, I feel like they're all great, like I said, but this one, just everything, the story of it, I loved, even though it's not speaking, it spoke volumes, if that makes sense.
Honorable mention, Repairing Frippery by Carla Whip Shadwick.
I love the light in this. If you guys haven't noticed, I like soft light. I thought the positioning of everything was great. I like the front spool on its side. Again, it takes you back to the spools behind it that are vertical. And I love that the very back one is taller than, they're all different. And the thimble added in. The only thing, well, the two things, if we added again, like a fill card on the thimble on there on the bottom right, just something to get a little bounce of light up in there. I think that would help it a little bit. And the big spool laying on its side, it looks like the thimble's in focus. If we had the big spool in focus, I felt like since it's so big and you have the highlight on it, that's where my eye goes first. And I felt like it would be just a little bit better if that one was in focus rather than the thimble and the teal or turquoise spool. Even the placement of the needle though, it was done well.
Fifth place is Pompous and Pretentious. Mr. Whiskers liked to give the impression he could read. Tim Patterson.
Okay, so the light couldn't be more perfect on the cat. The face, just his face being the one the part that's lit up, and his body and the shadows, and then the sign being lit up with the title of it. It's so great. I love it. It's light. The lighting is dramatic though, hard lighting, but it works really well. I thought this was a fun, well lit, composed photo. I really enjoy it.
Fourth place is Truck Structure by Mark Fole.
This one's awesome. This one's visually awesome. I love the simplicity of it, but the lighting with the subject matter is great. It goes so well. The hard lighting with the industrial metal machinery and all the geometry with the lines running through it and the textures in this one again, it just is, it's hard. And it's a hard subject and it's hard, like, you know, it's just, it goes really, it works so well. And it's just visually really interesting to look at and bright and colorful. And I just, it's great.
Third place, Crystal Ball Patterns, Rick Bartel.
Okay, so again, I gotta know, what is this besides a crystal ball?
I've got to unmute myself here. There we go. That is a type of paper.
Okay.
We put in the background, it came up the sides, and then I had to just kind of move things around until I didn't have a lot of glare lighting. And if you got the right distance through, then it was focused through the crystal ball. So my wife has some very nice decorative paper. She does a lot of different type of craft work and this type of thing. So I had that and she had some papers and we put it together.
Well, it works. It looks, it's really cool. It looks really neat. It looks like the paper is lit, the background is lit behind it. So that's why I was wondering what it was, because I couldn't, you know, it's like it's glowing, especially there in the white parts of the black fan shape, and the lighter parts of the blue. I just love it. I love how that's out of focus, but then in the crystal ball, it's so sharp and in focus. It was done really well. The only thing is, again, the top of the ball is cut off. And since you have the majority of it in, I'd like to see the top of that. And are those lights there on the side and the reflection of the ball, or is it a window?
That's a window. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I say, it's almost impossible to not have some reflections from a light somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a window to the side. There was some diffused light above it too.
Yeah, and it doesn't bother me that much. I was just curious on because I don't, you know how balloons, like when you draw a balloon or you see a painting of a balloon or something, you know how it has that little like reflection just like that. It reminds me of that. And I think it doesn't take away. I just would be curious to see what it would look like with it. And I almost feel like it wouldn't look as good because that reflection highlight breaks it up a little bit or adds, I don't know if it's like a dimensionality to it or what, but yeah, this is just really cool, really neat.
Hey, Rick, what was your lighting setup for that shot?
Nothing sophisticated. It was natural lighting, and the lighter area, of course, it was actually a series of, there's like 3 windows on the one side, and I had it on the couch and it went up the back, and we also had it down below and just kind of adjusted. There was a little bit of light above it then too. So all natural light coming in from the side, diffused light.
Great, cool.
And the bottom right side, that's just from the window as well?
Yes, yeah. Like I said, there was a little bit of light above that too. So it kind of added without giving them too many reflections.
Well, you got a good place for lighting right there.
Second place, ready for your vaccine, Cherry Williams.
Okay, this photo is, it was done so well. Again, the attention to detail, the subject matter. But for me overall with this photo, it's visually pleasing. I am a dog person, so I'm a little biased, but because right now where we are and in the world, you took something that is so controversial and can be so upsetting and so heavy and made me smile about it. It's so light and it's actually happy. And it just was done so well. I don't think there's anybody out there that would look at this and be burdened by, you know, the whole pandemic, the way that it has burdened everybody by looking at this photo. The lighting is wonderful. I mean, look how perfectly they're all sitting there too. You got them all to sit there like that and get this moment. And just again, the details that you have with the stethoscopes and the RN clip and the masks, and I mean, just the background is great. It's not, I mean, it's white, it's pure white, and it's even all across it. It was done so well. How are they trained? How did you get them to?
The dog on
yes,
the
I have a Jack Russell. How guys did you do this? I have a Jack Russell. How did you do this?
Well,
yeah, how many takes did that take?
This is not a Jack Russell, Dick.
Oh my God! But still,
they're beakless, and they do confirmation and obedience. So, okay. You know, they do have sit stays, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, I think the emotion that this gave me, because again, some photos, you know, they're done really well, or they are really cool to look at, and you know, I mean, and a lot of them encompass all of that stuff too, but just this one just takes such a subject that's so prevalent in the world right now, and like I said, it makes me smile. Like who wouldn't want to get their vaccine seeing this photo?
Hey, Cherry, did you do this at RNL?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Sherry, I don't want to say this is a lot of commercial value to it.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
This is a lot of commercial value to it.
I agree. This is such a cool shot. When I saw this, I thought, oh my gosh. I mean, and just the looks in their eyes, everything. I mean, it's just,
I mean, and you have nice catch light in their eyes too. Like it was just done so well.
You know how many vet hospitals, you know how many veterinarians would buy this picture to put in their office? I'm dead serious.
Cherry,
I don't know.
So Cherry, talk about how you came up with this creative idea. That's the thing I'm interested in.
Well, because of all of us and our masks and our vaccines, and my daughter is a nurse, so we use her scrubs and stethoscopes and, you know, her paraphernalia, and use the studio at RNL and our long-suffering dogs as models.
So, you know, the title for this could be Do Your Part.
Yeah.
It was a great shot.
I agree with Dick. I mean, you could make some bucks on that one, Cherry. I mean, you really could. You're an awesome photographer with the animals, but you really could. I just think this is just the coolest photograph.
Sure, I think it was the dog on the left that gave me my first shot, so I'm pretty sure.
Well, maybe not just vets, but maybe doctor's office.
Absolutely.
I mean, just a public.
This photograph just makes you feel good. It makes you feel good when you go to the doctor, like, oh my God, you know what I mean?
Just a public service announcement. Do your part. Get the vaccine. Like, how could you not? How could you argue when those three are?
Look at those eyes. How could you say no to those eyes?
It's timeless. You go in any doctor's office, any hospital, what about a children's hospital with dogs? Oh my God, it'd be great.
There you are.
Jerry, you're going to make some money.
You are.
There you go.
Need to do something with this one, Jerry. You really do.
I don't know how much the dogs will want though as their cut. So
they'll take treats.
Milk bone. A bag of milk bone. They'll be happy.
Maybe a steak dinner.
There you are.
Okay. All right.
place is Hockey Hills, Foggy Hills, good Lord. Hockey Hills, Foggy Morning by Richard Marquardt.
Okay, so like I said before, it was really hard to pick just 5 winners from each category because I felt like there's great stuff about all of them, and it was really hard. But this one to me was my favorite because I could look at it all day. I mean, I could look at it. Just this one again is like a painting. The lighting is beautiful. The way my eye flows through it, but the part that was surprising to me and I loved was when I looked at it, it turned from a passive still shot to an active shot when my eyes followed the light down into the water and the ripples are there and the detail in that and just the perfect moment and the composition and again the softness of it, just it was done really well. I think it's just beautiful. I love it.
Thanks. That's like one of the first times I've tried a 200 millimeter on a landscape instead of wide angle. I just kind of isolated down in it further and it turned out pretty well.
Yeah, and I like how you have the foreground is out of focus because sometimes I feel like when you're doing landscapes, unless it's like the desert scene, but especially with trees, when you don't have the depth that's naturally there, it can just be so busy and you're not sure where to go. Your eyes have a hard time or get lost in it. But this just, my eyes flow through it so easily. And like I said, it's so soft. And up at the top, I can't tell if that's fog. Is there trees? Is it?
Yeah, there's more yellow and green trees back there covered in fog.
Yeah, it looks like it. And it just works so well. It reminds me of Bob Ross. Just feel like there's a happy little squirrel in there.
With the happy little trees.
Yep.
Yeah.
And happy little squirrel.
I'll have to buy Dick Wood dinner. He drove us on a photographic outing and so forth. So.
Yeah, well, this one's...
It's right off Route 23. We stopped, we saw the fog and jammed the brakes on.
I didn't understand that. Sorry, repeat it.
It's a New York
it's off
23.
Accent. It was off 23. We were driving along. We saw the fog, saw the dip, and we slammed the brakes on, head to the shoulder. 3 of us got out of the car. And it was like a machine gun fest.
It was off 33, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hockey House.
I'm sorry, 33. Yes.
I figured he meant 33. And then when he said the New York accent, I was like, oh yeah, he just got the numbers mixed up. I got it. I followed.
Well, let me just tell you, we took a bunch of us to New York from the camera club, and when I was in New York, no one ever questioned me, what the hell did I say, for some strange reason.
Well, you guys, I mean, like I said, I feel so honored to have been asked to do this. And I was so impressed and was kind of like, oof, why are they asking me? So you guys are doing good. You have a lot of really awesome stuff and a lot to be proud of, in my opinion.
Karli, if you ever need another outlet for your work, feel free to join us.
Yeah, you guys do monthly meetings, right? Or is it just...
We do, okay. Yes.
And obviously...
Sherry, contact me. I'll tell you how to sell that photograph.
Okay, so these ones were ones that I just wanted to give little comments on. It won't take up too much time.
Okay, this is Reflections of Burano by Erickson.
I have a different
Oh,
name.
no, I'm sorry. Blah. No, it's Winter Day.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Wait a minute. Where are we going here?
Is it from the bottom?
Oh, bottom. Bye to Winter Gloom, Nancy Tinker.
Right. That's my.
Sorry, Nancy.
That's okay.
Okay, so on this one, I was just gonna give I was thinking that if we just bumped up the contrast or had some, and I'm sure it was a gloomy gray day, that's the feel of the photo. And I think the overall gloomy gray feel of the photo is fine with that. But if we could just get pure white in there, because like I feel like the white doors and the white trim should be white. And if we could just brighten that up a little bit, I think that would help. And maybe get in the shadows of the trees and the dark, deep shadows, get that to a pure black. And I think that would add a little more punch to it.
Okay. Thank you.
This is Citrus Snack by Rob Formentelli.
This one is awesome. We just, I think, need to have the full grapefruit in the one that's the big one. If we could see all of that instead of having it cut off, since you have both the sides cut off, if we had it a horizontal, I think it would be a stronger photo. But everything else about it looks great.
I actually had it cropped both ways.
That's how I always am like, oh, I like this photo like this. And I never put the one in that everybody likes. And I always end up having that oddball taste that I don't like anything that everybody likes and vice versa.
All right, thank you.
This is March, Catherine Kempke.
This one, I would just go to the right a little more so we could see more of the bridge. It bothers me that it's cut off as much as it is. So if we either that or cut off the left and make it a vertical, but you have such good detail and drama in it. It just, my eyes only stay to the right half of the photo because that's where the line is, and it doesn't like lead me into the rest of it, especially being that it's lighter than the sky and the tree line. So if I could just see more of that, I think it would be stronger.
On the Fence, Phyllis Stevens.
Okay, so was this, it just depends on how you're looking at this photo. Was this a photojournalistic photo where you're just there capturing the moment, or were you trying to tell a story and I don't want to say sell something, but you know, was there a purpose behind this photo? Put it like that.
This was a candid from a horse show, and it was pouring down rain. Yeah, pouring rain.
Okay. So obviously we're not going to change her white socks and her whatever is sticking out of her pocket if it was for a purpose. And I would be like, let's tweak some stuff there. But from a photojournalistic, I would be curious to see what it would be like if, especially if she was just standing there holding that pose, if you had a longer shutter and we had more blur in the rain, because obviously you can see it, but I would be curious to see what that looked like. And if we could, again, get some pure black in there or true black. And I know the rain is kind of putting a gray fog over everything, and the shadows of the bushes and the windows, I feel like that should be a little more black. And then I think that would also bump the brightness up in the fence and just give it a little more contrast.
Yeah, hopefully I'll do better this coming summer. I'd only been shooting like 3 weeks, I think, when I took this. So it was.
Listen, it doesn't, you just, was, yeah. You're good. You got the lines in there that are leading you into her. You got the rule of thirds going on. There's a lot good going on. You just, like I said, I would be curious to see what it would look like with a longer shutter, and like you have it on a tripod and see, and then just bump up the contrast a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a good start for sure.
Yeah, I think I was under a tent because it was pouring down rain.
If you don't ever have one and you have a tripod, just carry an umbrella with you too.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Reflection, pool near Mendelssohn Glacier, Larry Kennedy.
How do you say that M word? Mendelssohn? Okay.
Mendelssohn? I think so, yeah.
This is, I'm unsure how it would be because I like the fog in the background and I like the composition of it. I just wish there was a little, everything's in focus, and I wish there was a little more shallow depth of field to the photo. But if you did that, I don't know what it would do to the fog and the trees in the background, because I do like that. So I would be curious to see how that would pan out.
We give two hoots. Richard Marquardt.
I love this photo. It's great. It's a great moment in time again. The only thing I was going to suggest is it looks like it's too soft or a little bit out of focus. And if we could, again, get some true blacks in there, because it's kind of, the blacks look a little gray.
Okay.
The composition was great though. I love it.
This is Winter Day by Mary Angela Scavo-Mano, I think.
So this, I like the composition of it. If we could crop the telephone lines out or the electric lines. And again, I think it would be a little stronger if we had the bridge in focus and threw everything else out of focus a little bit. But that's the only thing. I think the composition is great. Maybe a smidge too contrasty, but it's not bad.
How about Grizzly Cub Alert, Audrey Began?
Love the photo, composition, everything about it. The bear is adorable. I just wish his face was, or her face was in focus. A little, well, in focus.
How about that balloon shot?
That one's coming, right?
Yes, I believe it is.
Yes, it's coming later.
This one, I would like to see the lizard just in focus and have a little more shallow depth of field with everything else. And maybe less vignetting on this one, or at least, or if you're gonna do it, then maybe not go with the lighter and see how the darker would look. But I think if you just took the vignetting out, excuse me, and gave it used a shallow depth of field, then I think that would make it pop like you're trying to with it right now.
Fluffy's portrait, Phyllis Stevens.
I love the hair light on it, even though I'm assuming it probably was daylight coming in from a window or a door of a barn, possibly. But I would like to, I think it would have made it a little stronger if we had a little bit of light on her or his face. So rather than have so much backlight, had a little light in the front too.
Yeah, I've got some like that. Yeah, Fluffy's a very good model.
The backlight's great though. I just would like to see just a little light on her face.
Yeah, I really had to lighten it up. She was really had to play with the exposure and to get it light enough. Yeah,
she's hot though.
Yeah, she's on a farm all by herself. She's a lone cat.
Oh, well, she gets all the mice then.
She gets all the mice, the birds. Yes.
Deserted by Vicki Warren.
I really like the simplicity of this one. And the dramaticness of it. I thought it was another really good use of taking something so simple and doing something so dramatic. I was curious what it would look like. My only suggestion would be if you had an object of any kind in there, what that would do to the photo. And I'm not saying it would make it better, or I would be curious to see, and I would try several different placements if you had the time when you were doing it, if there was anything there. I don't know if
there was nothing. It's a cabin in Cades Cove.
Okay.
And it's just empty. So there was nothing to put anywhere.
Yeah, again, like I said, it's a great example of taking something so ordinary and making it, using light to make it so interesting. I just was wondering in my mind, I was just curious what it would look like with something, but if you didn't have it, it still is a great photo as is.
Thank you.
Here we go. Balloon Festival, Ted Stone.
I like the shots. The only thing is I wish we had the top of the balloon. That is why I said I selected this one to say something about the gradient in the blue sky is great. I just wish we had the top of the balloon in it.
Me too.
Bridges in the Forest, Carol Sherlow.
I wish the bridges were the only things in focus. There's too much going on, so I'm not sure what to focus on. My eyes I go across the bridges, but then I just kind of keep going all over the place. I'm not sure where to stop. So I think it would be stronger if the composition is great and the black and white and gray tonalities are really good too. You're hitting them all. I think that it would be stronger if you had a more selective focus.
she could actually crop it from the left and just leave that bridge on the left there and might have a picture all by itself, maybe a square focus, a square format.
Oh yeah, so you have just the arched bridge with the reflection.
Yeah, or something like that. You can
yeah,
selective focus, more selective cropping.
That would make it, yeah, that would make it a lot stronger too, as is, because then you have, you know where to go. Your eyes go across the bridge and then they go to the reflection and you see all the other stuff, but you keep going back to that. So yeah, that would, I mean, just, you're absolutely right. Just cropping it like that would help it.
Here you go, Carol, for next month.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
My pleasure.
Yellow Roadster, Joe Chunko.
This is the opposite. I wish there was, the background wasn't so out of focus. The light's great, but I just, it's too out of focus.
Interesting you said that. After the competition, and they told me I needed to take the background out of focus. So this is what they told me to do. And you're saying, gotcha. Yeah, judges are different.
Well, just a happy medium, something in between. So obviously I can tell that's another vehicle there behind it, but just maybe if it wasn't so out of focus. So it was still out of focus, but just not so much.
Okay, Dick, you need to pronounce this.
What?
You need to pronounce it. Lay who? Oh.
Les Drummer, Renaissance drummer.
There you go.
Oh, well, it says Ren Drummer at the bottom, but that's not the full name of it.
No.
Oh, okay.
I guess not.
This one's really nice. The lighting's really good. Again, this is another one that tells the story a lot with just the person itself. I was just, is that the background that he's against, like in real life, or was?
No, that it was, I took that with a lens across the thing of Renaissance Festival. Okay. So the light was there, it was just available. And that he had a crappy background, so I darkened it and put a different light and changed and did color grading on it. To get the monochromatic color.
Okay.
Tonality.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it's just something feels off about the subject and the background, and I wasn't sure what it was, but that would be what it is. So I would be curious to see what it would look like with the natural crappy background. Was it out of focus?
No, really little dumb stuff. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, low rugs. It was just really, it really contrasted with the. It conflicted with the main purpose of the portrait.
Gotcha. Yeah, it felt like it wasn't natural, which obviously it isn't. So that would be why. But everything about it is, I mean, his pose, the lighting, the look, I mean, everything about him is great. And again, the composition. And I love these ones where there's so much character in the character. I feel like, and the person themselves, it tells such a story already.
Dick, was that all done in natural light?
That's all natural light, and I did
all
dodge and burning.
Okay. Yeah.
And color grading and some masks and stuff like that, but otherwise that's not that, you know, highlight the highlights of the dress, the vest, and things like that, add texture to the drum. So,
very good.
What kind of sound did that drum make, Dick? Bada bing, bada boom?
Hey, bada boom, bada bing, eh?
Hey.
Hey, paisano, eh? How you doing? How you doing?
There you go.
He wants some pizza.
And this last one is Reflections of Burano, Erickson.
Love this photo, I just wish the building was in it. The bottom gold building, I wish that was all the way in and the people were out of it. So, and the boat. So I wish we cropped out just, or zoomed out just a little bit and got the people out. That would be the only suggestion I have, but I think it's great. Love the composition, love the color, love the movement in the water of the buildings and the boat being, I mean, it's really great. I just wish it was zoomed out a little bit.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, sorry guys, I don't know if that was too many or not enough, or if I talked too long or not enough, but like I said, it was hard to pick.
Oh, that was great. Thanks, Karli. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Karli.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank
you guys.
Thank you
so much,
Thank you, Karli.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much.
Appreciate your time.
No problem. Okay, so what do we do? Is this
Gotta go get a drink of water.
All right, are we signing off?
Great
or?
job.
We're signing off.
Okay.
All righty.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, folks.
Bye.
See you all.
Bye.
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 Adios.